Showtime! The Capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. We're talking the secrets of eternity in this video, as well as Burning Abyss and what the game of Yu-Gi-Oh might have in store for everybody's favorite TCG exclusive art type that is based around a very old awesome poem. Although I guess if you ask some of the younger players, they probably will spend 30 minutes telling you that Burning Abyss is actually based around a video game franchise involving two demon brothers who hate but respect each other at the same time. So anyways, if you haven't heard by now, Burning Abyss are actually getting a ritual monster, which I heard that and I thought that was just, I was like, what? I think it's really interesting that Burning Abyss are going down the ritual route, because the first thing that came to my mind as soon as I saw that blue card without even reading it was, you know what? I actually think that we can probably throw Djinns and Burning Abyss together in a deck, and I mean, it should pretty much work because Tour Guide goes together with BA like peanut butter and jelly, and every ritual deck that's ever ran, you know, Djinns runs Tour Guide. So it's like, I think this thing is finally coming full circle. So anyways, the card is Malacoda, Netherlord of the Burning Abyss. Again, I assume that that is from the Dante's Inferno poem. I haven't actually read it, but you know, somebody, one of you guys who are smarter than me, just go ahead and enlighten me. It is, of course, level 6. Dark Fiend ritual effect monster. 2700 attack, which is really impressive. I mean, that is by far the highest in the Burning Abyss art type. 2200 defense. That's pretty legit for a level 6. The effect reads, you can ritual summon this card with good and evil in the Burning Abyss. That is obviously the new spell that, you know, we all knew about at least a couple of weeks ago. Must be ritual summoned and cannot be special summoned by any other ways. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can send one Burning Abyss monster in your hand to the graveyard. Then target one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. That target loses attack and defense, equivalent to the attack and defense of the Burning Abyss monster that was sent to the graveyard this way. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one card on the field and send it to the graveyard. Okay, so my initial reaction to Malacoda. I think that this is a very solid card. It's obviously not as good as Virgil or Dante, so let's not make that unfair comparison because this card is going to lose every single time. I think that I would have liked the card more, obviously, if the attack loss is permanent, and considering it has a cost attached to it, I think that it really should have been. I mean, you look at Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon, and it's like, he can use his effect twice for no cost and he keeps the attack gain. So it's like, why couldn't this dude just have the attack gain like permanent? To me, it just would have seemed like it would have been a little fair. It obviously gives Burning Abyss more ways to trigger Surge, Scram, and Graph, which you can argue with, you know, Wing Blast and Virgil now and Karma Cut and all the other, you know, cards they have in their arsenal that they don't technically need more ways, but you know, it's icing on the cake, I guess. And I think what really makes this card solid, other than the stats, because 2700 for a level 6 is like, I mean, that's almost Goyo Guardian basically. It's really good, but it's the fact that it triggers when it hits the graveyard. So that was kind of an anchor point for me with this card, like as a reason why I would consider running this card, you know what I mean, or why this card could be viable in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. And what's good about it is it doesn't actually destroy your opponent's card when it triggers. It just sends it to the graveyard. So, I mean, you have the possibility of taking out Sanctum or your opponent's Stardust, Ice Hand, Fire Hand. You can even kill your opponent's Virgil in the mirror match, and their Virgil, of course, won't trigger. And since this guy himself doesn't have to actually be destroyed like Virgil does, it actually has a leg up on Virgil in that category where you can basically use this for Fire Lake and you'll still be able to trigger its effect. So I guess instead of blowing up 3 cards with Fire Lake, you'll blow up 4. Like, I don't ever see a situation where your opponent has like 4 cards on board for you to blow up with Fire Lake, but you know, just know that the potential is technically there. And another thing that's interesting about Malacoda that Virgil doesn't have over this card is the whole, you know, Monarch Stormforth. That is a card that is becoming insanely popular, and you know, if you Monarch Stormforth your opponent's Virgil into a Vanity Fiend, that is a huge swing of momentum. You can't technically do that, to my knowledge, against this card. I mean, you can do the play, it just doesn't benefit you because The second that Malacoda hits the graveyard and your opponent puts the Vanities Field on Fiend, all you have to do is be like, okay, I'm going to activate Malacoda's effect, and I'm now going to send your Vanities Fiend to the graveyards. Oddly enough, I think that Malacoda is the one Burning Abyss monster that we have to look at in a vacuum. And I say that because it's kind of comparable to Virgil. You know, the stats are kind of similar. They can both beat over a whole bunch of shit without needing to kind of be powered up like Dante. And when I was honest with myself and I kept trying to make that comparison, I just thought, when would I ever want Malacoda over Virgil when it came to taking down opponents' threats? You know, why try and run your opponent's monsters over when I could just spin them motherfuckers straight back to the deck? It just seems, you know, like a much better solution. The upside is so much higher. Ideally, in both situations, my Burning Abyss monsters are going to trigger whatever the hell I discard anyway, so that doesn't really change. You know, but I look at Malacoda, and what it does for Burning Abyss that Virgil can't do is it gives Burning Abyss the ability to play in a completely new direction. You know, it gives them the possibility of becoming something that we thought that they would probably never become, and Virgil just didn't do that for the deck. It's not like Virgil took a Xyz deck and made it into an Xyz deck that often, you know, synchro summons. Like Virgil didn't really change Burning Abyss that much. He gave them kind of, you know, a little more utility, but even with Rubik, it's like they're basically still an Xyz first base deck that sometimes will synchro summon. With Malacoda, I mean, you can play that deck completely differently now with Djinns and all types of random shit that your opponent would never expect. Not saying that it's going to be the best version or the most competitive or hell, even a version that would be smart to run, but the potential and the possibility is out there. And that's what I like about this card. It gives you a way to run a deck that, you know, you probably would have never thought it could be ran. So, you know, I think that Malacoda is a pretty solid card, and I mean, it could change the fucking game up, you know, for Burning Abyss. So let me know what you guys think. I think it's crazy that they're getting a ritual. I said that at the beginning. I'm going to say it again because it almost leads me to think, of course, that they could be getting a fusion, which would just, that would be hype as fuck if they end up getting a fusion too. That would be crazy. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always. Subscribing makes life happy.